It's a tale all too often told on your local nightly news. The tale of young men and women taken too soon. The result of violence in a city where murder seems par for the course. But the way these stories are being told, and most importantly, what they're leaving out, has left some Baltimore residents disenchanted. Does local news media have a bias?
I had a friend of mine got killed last week. And you heard about it one time on the news, and you heard about it no more. No more about it. It's a big difference. They care more about the white than they do the black.
They hard to try to figure out what you're going to cover and what you're not going to cover. And of course, you want to help as many people as you can, but there's just not enough hours in the day or enough minutes in the newscast.
Media, they do their research. What draws the eyes of the viewers to their channel, to their newspaper, to their whatever type of media they're using? They do that research. And if it's what bleeds that leads, then that's what they go with.
See, it's mostly black season, so what they care? You have murders go, I've been here 4 years, I know at least 5 murders. And I have yet to see a camera. The guy died up there, got killed up there Christmas Eve last year. Broad daylight, in the morning, no cameras.
Let's take the story of 2 young men murdered within the same week in Baltimore City. One, 14-year-old Najee Thomas, Cherry Hill resident and son of jailed Stop Snitching DVD creator Ronnie Thomas. A Google search of his name produces results that state his affiliation with the infamous DVD, or simply state that he was a 14-year-old boy. His murder is still under investigation. The other victim, 17-year-old Michael Mayfield's same search results and coverage pose a stark difference. Community leader is the headline. Baltimore Police Commissioner Anthony W. Batts even made promises to find his murderer and offered a $2,000 reward for more information. His funeral was attended by the mayor and other city officials. What was the difference between these 2 residents? How was value placed on his life and not Najee's? By all accounts, both young men were good people.
And so what kind of message does that send to them? It tells this group of kids who see themselves as this young man in the same communities and neighborhoods, same challenges, they see them as their lives as being worthless. And what happens, so what do they do as a result of that? They go on living as though their lives are worthless.
When the Amber Alert goes off, 9 out of 10 that do the white people more first. Like, not racist or not, but like, yeah.
Does media have an influence on how the police engage with the public? A recent study by the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that police see black children as less innocent and perceive them to be older than white children.
Police in general, and I have to admit this, even I, when I was out there policing, did see black children differently than white children. Okay, we did and do see black children differently. We see them as guilty, okay, pretty much right off the bat. And many of us have wondered, so why is that? But it is the influences that we have on a daily basis in our lives, be it the media, be it things that we read, be it conversations that we have with other people. I think the media is the one sending the message. Okay, and obviously the media is just reporting the response of the police and the response of our political leaders. Yeah, they're reporting on that, and so we see the differences in how the 2 are handled. But the media also has a responsibility in how they communicate this message.
Nielsen Media research data suggests that viewers who mainly watch the local news live in the suburbs and counties. Even armed with this information, does local news media have a responsibility to report for the demographic it serves, or the ones who they could do a service for?
Every TV station is different. Everybody has a different brand or a different goal. So it's hard to speak for just one, TV station. But basically, if their brand is live, local, late breaking, or works for you, then those are the kind of stories they're going to have to go after for the audience, for the public. Basically, the main thing is they're looking for the stories that impact the largest audience.
When you have consistent coverage that doesn't look out for the general public, doesn't look out for the threats to the general public, you have a problem. Media should really not have a goal as to how to cover things. They ought to cover the news. And when the news is unpleasant to their values or contrary to their values, they still ought to cover it. And so I think that basically a news person does his or her job well when he's not thinking, what is my philosophy in covering this?
Perhaps the most harmful part of the local news media's coverage in Baltimore is the seeming disconnect they have with the city's residents. Are they reporting what's really happening and what matters to them?
Yeah, I really think they don't come here because it's public housing, and they probably really don't care. I mean, it's not like we, rich enough for them to be concerned about it. So I just think they don't come here just because of the area that we live in, the crime.
News people only put out like they hit by hearsay, and then they add their story in there to make a story, and it be all lies. And half of the stuff that ain't even really true what they say.
Because a lot of times the public sees one person or one face, but it's a whole team behind that camera. It's a whole team, it's a whole station. There are all kinds of news managers, and they make decisions. And sometimes it may not be up to the reporter. Sometimes it may be up to management on how things are gonna go.
As long as we in our neighborhoods and we're not close to Towson, Wrightsville, that area, then they don't.
I'm Angel Elliott, reporting for the Real News Network.